If you're frustrated by your stubborn belly fat that won't budge despite eating healthy and exercising, it's time to stop focusing solely on calories. The key to understanding what's going on lies within your mitochondria. Most people don't realize this, but visceral fat, the dangerous fat surrounding your internal organs, doesn't simply respond to calorie restrictions. It reacts to cellular signals, and when those signals go haywire, that's when the problem begins. Visceral fat doesn't play by the same rules as the fat under your skin. While many people think their belly fat is just the result of eating too much and exercising too little, there's another factor most overlook: mitochondria dysfunction. When your mitochondria aren't working properly, fat cells essentially lock up. They stop releasing fat, they stop burning fat, and no amount of willpower or discipline can override that. This concept challenged everything I thought I knew about fat loss. I'm Dr. Leana, an emergency medicine physician and metabolism researcher. After years of seeing patients struggle with stubborn visceral fat, I started investigating the real cause of this problem. What I found was groundbreaking. It's not just about calories. It's about what's happening at the cellular level, particularly with your mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of your cells. Here's why this matters. Your mitochondria are responsible for turning the food you eat into energy, much like a furnace converting fuel into heat. When they're working efficiently, they burn stored fat as fuel. But when they're damaged or malfunctioning, they go into a safe mode and stop burning fat. This makes it impossible for your body to tap into its fat reserves, especially visceral fat. And if that wasn't enough, this dysfunction creates a cycle where fat cells become more resistant to fat loss, trapping the fat even further. The key takeaway? If your mitochondria aren't working properly, no amount of diet or exercise will solve the problem. This is why many people, despite working hard on their fitness and following strict diets, still find themselves stuck with the same visceral fat they've been trying to shed for years. But here's the good news. The issue isn't impossible to fix. There are specific foods that can target this dysfunction at the cellular level and help restore your mitochondria's ability to burn fat effectively. Over the years, I've studied these foods and their effects on metabolism, and what I've discovered could change the way you think about fat loss entirely. Before I dive into the foods and how they work, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below telling me what's been the most frustrating part of your fat loss journey, whether it's struggling with diet, consistency, or not knowing what's really happening inside your body. I read every comment, and I'm excited to connect with you. Stay tuned, because in the next part, I'll dive into the science behind how mitochondrial dysfunction traps fat, and I'll reveal the first of 3 powerful foods that can help reverse this issue. In the previous part, we explored how mitochondrial dysfunction is at the heart of why visceral fat doesn't respond to traditional fat loss strategies. But how does this dysfunction specifically lead to fat accumulation in the first place? Let's dive deeper into the science behind it. Visceral fat isn't just an inert tissue. Unlike subcutaneous fat, which sits just under your skin, visceral fat is metabolically active. It produces inflammatory compounds, hormones, and other substances that affect various systems in your body. When your mitochondria are not functioning properly, this fat tissue becomes even more problematic. Here's the real kicker. When your mitochondria stop working efficiently, they lose the ability to burn fat. Instead of breaking down fat for energy, they begin to hoard it. This is when visceral fat gets trapped in a vicious cycle of dysfunction. Visceral fat starts producing more inflammatory compounds, which further damage your mitochondria. This means more fat gets stored, more inflammation occurs, and the cycle continues. A study published in the journal Obesity Reviews confirmed this cycle. It found that mitochondrial dysfunction in visceral adipose tissue is both a cause and a consequence of fat accumulation. In other words, the problem isn't just that fat builds up around your organs. It's that the fat itself makes the problem worse, reinforcing the environment that allows more fat to accumulate. Now, I want to make it crystal clear why this matters. You see, Addressing diet at the surface level, cutting calories, increasing exercise, etc., can help to some extent, but it doesn't fix the root cause of the problem. If the cellular environment within your fat cells is dysfunctional, the fat just won't burn off. That's why people plateau despite their best efforts. They haven't addressed the mitochondrial dysfunction that's driving the problem. So, what can we do about it? It turns out that the solution lies in a few key nutrients that directly target the mitochondrial dysfunction and can help restore the body's fat-burning ability. These nutrients work by signaling to your mitochondria, helping them return to normal function and allowing your body to start burning fat more efficiently again. Let's talk about the first of these foods, pumpkin seeds. While you may know them as a healthy snack, they have a much more important role to play in reversing mitochondrial dysfunction. They contain specific minerals like magnesium and zinc, which are essential for mitochondrial function. These minerals support a protein called SIRT3, which activates the enzymes responsible for fat oxidation. When SIRT3 activity is low, fat burning slows down. But by increasing your magnesium and zinc intake, you can restore this activity and help your mitochondria get back on track. A study from the University of Innsbruck showed that correcting magnesium deficiency restored SIRT3 activity and improved fat oxidation in just 6 weeks. The best part? Pumpkin seeds are one of the most concentrated dietary sources of magnesium and zinc, making them a perfect food to include in your fat-burning protocol. In the next part, we'll discuss the second food that plays a crucial role in reversing mitochondrial dysfunction, hemp seeds. But before we get to that, if you're finding this information valuable, make sure to hit the subscribe button and comment below. I'd love to hear which part of this process you find most challenging, understanding the science, consistency, or finding the right foods. Let's continue on this journey to a healthier you. In the previous part, we talked about how pumpkin seeds can help restore mitochondrial function and kickstart fat oxidation. Now, let's dive into the second food that plays a crucial role in reversing mitochondrial dysfunction and helping you tackle stubborn visceral fat hemp seeds. Hemp seeds are rich in gamma-linolenic acid, GLA, an omega-6 fatty acid that is rarely found in most of our diets. GLA has a unique property. It activates a receptor inside your fat cells called PPAR-alpha, peroxisome proliferator activated receptor alpha. When PPAR-alpha is activated, it triggers a process called lipolysis, which is the breakdown of triglycerides stored fat in your visceral fat cells. Here's how this works. When you consume GLA, it signals your fat cells to release stored fat into the bloodstream, where it can be used as fuel. In simple terms, hemp seeds help unlock the stored fat in your belly, allowing your body to burn it instead of storing more. This is a direct pathway for reducing visceral fat. A clinical trial conducted at Ohio State University followed 56 adults with elevated visceral fat over 12 weeks. The group that consumed 30 grams of hemp seeds daily, roughly 1 handful, saw a measurable reduction in visceral fat compared to the control group. The researchers attributed this effect primarily to GLA's activation of PPAR-alpha, showing how potent hemp seeds can be in targeting visceral fat at the cellular level. But how do you incorporate hemp seeds into your daily routine? It's simple. Adding 1 tablespoon of raw, unroasted hemp seeds to your daily handful of seeds, alongside pumpkin and sunflower seeds, delivers about 2.5 grams of GLA right within the range shown to be effective in research studies. Just like pumpkin seeds, it's crucial to keep the hemp seeds raw and unroasted, as heating them can degrade the beneficial compounds. Now that we've covered pumpkin and hemp seeds, let's discuss the third food in this powerful combination, sunflower seeds. These seeds play a critical role in completing the process and ensuring that the benefits of the other 2 foods are maximized. But first, let's quickly recap. Pumpkin seeds restore mitochondrial function and activate fat burning, while hemp seeds directly trigger the release of visceral fat. Sunflower seeds fill in the gaps by addressing another crucial issue in the fat-burning process, ceramide production. In the next part, we'll explain how sunflower seeds work to reduce ceramide levels and enhance mitochondrial health. But before we move on, if you're finding this information helpful, Don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know which foods or methods you're excited to try first. In the previous part, we discussed the powerful effects of pumpkin seeds and hemp seeds on restoring mitochondrial function and releasing visceral fat. Now, let's look at the third essential food in this combination: sunflower seeds, which play a critical role in completing the fat-burning process. Even as pumpkin seeds help restore mitochondrial function and hemp seeds trigger the release of fat, there's still one more hurdle that needs to be tackled: ceramide. Ceramide is an inflammatory lipid produced by dysfunctional visceral fat tissue. It plays a significant role in blocking mitochondrial activity, preventing your mitochondria from functioning at full capacity, and essentially keeping your fat locked in place. Here's the problem. Ceramide directly suppresses mitochondrial membrane integrity, meaning it damages the very mitochondria you're trying to repair. This means even if you're doing everything right with your diet and supplements, ceramide could be sabotaging your efforts by keeping your mitochondria damaged and your fat trapped. This is where sunflower seeds come in. Sunflower seeds are one of the richest food sources of tocotrienols, a form of vitamin E that is different from the more common tocopherols found in most supplements. Tocotrienols have been shown to directly inhibit ceramide synthesis in fat cells, which is key to improving mitochondrial function. A study from the University of Missouri found that tocotrienol supplementation reduced ceramide levels in obese subjects by 38% over 8 weeks. The same study demonstrated improved mitochondrial membrane potential, which is an indicator of healthier, more functional mitochondria. By including sunflower seeds in your daily handful, you're addressing the issue of ceramide buildup, which in turn supports your mitochondria's ability to function properly. 1 tablespoon of raw, unroasted sunflower seeds provides about 7.4 milligrams of tocotrienol-rich vitamin E, a meaningful dose without exceeding safe limits. This helps improve the mitochondrial environment and supports the fat-burning mechanisms that pumpkin and hemp seeds activate. Together, these 3 foods, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, and sunflower seeds, work synergistically to tackle mitochondrial dysfunction, activate fat burning, and reduce inflammation, allowing your body to release stored fat and begin burning it as fuel. But there's one last key element to getting this right: consistency and proper preparation. In the next part, we'll go over how to prepare this daily handful correctly, what mistakes to avoid, and how long you can expect to see results. But before we move on, if you're feeling inspired to try this approach, make sure to hit the subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Which part of this process are you most excited to start? And what other topics would you like me to explore? I'm here to help you on your health journey.